I've seen this exact pattern before. We did just grab the liquidity on most of the crypto pairs, and this is for example Ethereum. We did grab the liquidity on the downside, and now we are on the way to grab the upside liquidity. Most crypto pairs are breaking back in towards their range, and I do think the minor dump we saw for the crypto market was once again a massive trap like we have been discussing on the channel. So that's what we need to discuss within today's update video. We will take a deep dive in towards the most important charts and the latest news in the market here. So guys, first of all, make sure to subscribe to the channel and watch and like my latest YouTube videos, and then we can dive in towards the most important content. Since the crypto market, and let's start with Bitcoin first, is bouncing back up after this major drawdown, and I do think we've grabbed all the downside liquidity to be moving higher for both Bitcoin, Ethereum and smaller altcoins. Now we'll exactly explain why here. First of all, we need to take a look into towards Bitcoin before we can go back towards this Ethereum fractal. Bitcoin did grab all the downside liquidity, exactly bouncing off this major support level, which was basically the high of this previous bull flag, this previous consolidation. So basically the perfect bounce for Bitcoin. And if you are going to take a look in towards the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, you can see that most of the downside liquidity which was laying in that exact area was being grabbed here. And now we see a huge pile of liquidity stacking up at that 120,000, a little bit higher levels, basically the all-time high levels. And I do think Bitcoin is going to move towards that area next, because Bitcoin tends to move to the places where the most liquidity is laying. This Ethereum pattern is basically a textbook example of what it looks like seeing an chart basically grab the liquidity at the downside of the range and then moving back towards the upside and even breaking out from there. I do think that's going to be next here, because we've seen this exact pattern before for Ethereum. For example, during this major consolidation phase, we broke in towards that consolidation phase. You also see some bull traps, and this one as a major bull trap at the top side from the range. Basically trap the bulls and also grab the liquidity at the top side of the range, and then that new move to the downside and basically the ultimate bear trap where we do grab the downside liquidity from the range. And that's exactly what also happened for Ethereum in this range, basically grabbing the top side liquidity and after that the downside liquidity. And I do think now we could see a major move higher, because it would also make a lot of sense if you're going to take a look in towards the seasonality. If you for example take a look in towards the altcoins market cap, normally during August, so the current month, we see a bottom in the market, we see that liquidity grab at the downside, and from there we see basically crypto, the total market, moving higher. And definitely for altcoins it's going to be a huge period. Also the Bitcoin volatility index shows exactly the same, when normally during those summer periods, so for example in 2023, in 2024 and now 2025, you do see those periods of very low volatility, but normally afterwards you do see huge spikes back up in volatility with normally bullish price action afterwards. So that's still looking quite good. So I basically do think we've survived the bear trap for Bitcoin, Ethereum and altcoins, but we do have this major and important support line here. And I do want to give a little bit of a warning here, because I do still think if we're going to lose this support line for Bitcoin, we could still flip bearish for the short term here. So this is going to be a super important trend line in my opinion, guys. So make sure to watch that closely in the upcoming days. But yeah, Bitcoin has been breaking back in that bull flag, and I do think from here, just like Ethereum breaking back in its own consolidation pattern, we could see a major continuation to grab the top side liquidity at that 120,000 and even slightly higher levels. And guys, from there, make sure if you do want to be trading Bitcoin altcoins yourself, make sure to do it on Bitunix, because here you can claim some absolutely insane deposit bonuses just before the major move higher we are about to see in the crypto market. So make sure to check Bitunix out if you do want to claim some absolutely insane deposit bonuses. I do think this is definitely the most beginner friendly platform out there to claim some insane bonuses just by signing up, guys. So make sure to check it out if you do want to be trading Bitcoin altcoins yourself. And then I do want to dive a little bit deeper into towards Ethereum, because Ethereum is basically still trading within this reaccumulation zone, and I did not take any profits yet because we still did not hit my conservative case, which is that $4,000 level. I actually did saw a comment about this yesterday with someone saying, why are you going to sell at the conservative case? Well, you maybe think that we could be hitting that bull case this cycle, basically new all-time highs. Yes, I definitely do think we could be hitting that bull case, but for me it doesn't make a lot of sense to be holding from the conservative case to the bull case and, for example, make about a 1.5x on my Ethereum holdings, when I do think at that conservative case, once we do break that $4,000, that is going to be the levels and the zone where we can see some insane gains on altcoins. So from the spot position, I basically accumulated all the way down here, this ultimate low, this range low retest. I will be rotating some of those profits in towards altcoins once we do break that conservative case, because I do think that's going to be the zone where altcoins will truly go parabolic. So that's going to be an important zone for me, and then I do think I could make a higher return if I'm going to rotate in towards altcoins in that exact phase of the cycle. So I hope that's understandable. Now also we have the Ethereum mega whale address count absolutely exploding. So basically these mega whales were holding over 10,000 Ethereum. Basically their accumulation speed is absolutely exploding here, so that is looking quite interesting. That is also something we haven't even seen before this cycle, and also not during those range high periods. We saw it during this major move down, but it is actually quite interesting what's happening there. Of course, it could also be some institutional accumulation there, but this is going to be an interesting chart. Keep watching in like the next few weeks, because this is something new happening on the market there. Also, I do think the altcoin season market cap is still undervalued here. We are still going to see a major move higher. We haven't even made new all-time highs yet in this ending stage of the cycle. Well, normally the ending stage of the cycle is going to be the most bullish periods for altcoins, so I don't think it will be any different this time around. But it is still, now it's not a Bitcoin season anymore, but it's also not an altcoin season yet. We are trading slightly between those two, but I do think we will move in favor of a new altcoin season period in the ending stage of the cycle. Like discussed in a few previous videos, I do think we could be likely to see that altcoin season happening mostly in Q4, but that's just my personal opinion. I don't think it's going to be important to be exactly timing the market in the last phase of the cycle. I do think your time in the market basically is going to be more important. And guys, that was it for today's update video. I hope you guys enjoyed today's update video, and I'll see you guys within the next update video tomorrow.